Lesson 6.2 come from your practice problems. So I'm going to work a few of the odd ones, and your assignment is to do the evens. Also, be aware or accept the reminder that you can check yourself with these if you define a variable. So if you choose to substitute a number for the variable, then you can put these problems in a calculator with numbers where the variables are, and then that way you can confirm that the original problem and the simplified result that you get are equivalent. So the problems that I'm going to work are 7, 9, and 23, the next to the last one. I have them worked out and scanned on Canvas, but what I'm going to do with you is work through them problem by problem. So I wrote down number 7, and there's different ways to do this. I can combine in chunks, or it just kind of depends on what stands out to you. Like if this weird thing is what you want to deal with first, then you can look for a property that has a 0 power, and this says a to the 0 is 1. So if k to the 0 is 1, then I could replace that with a 1 when I write it again. I have these 3 terms and they're multiplied together. I know because they're multiplied that I can rearrange things. I could group all the numbers and then group the variables and simplify that way. If I rewrote this as 3 times 2 times 1 times 2, just put all the numbers together and then put the k's together, then I could write this as 12 times k squared. K times k is k squared. There is an exponent property for this, and that is if you're multiplying 2 numbers together, you would add the exponents. This is k to the 1 times k to the 1, which is k to the 1 plus 1, which is k squared. But hopefully you wouldn't need a property necessarily to know that k times k is k squared. And like I said, you can check yourself by choosing a number for k. If I set k equal to 3, k doesn't have to be 3, but I'm just choosing 3 out of the air, then I can check by substituting 3 for k. Oops. If I put a 3 everywhere, there's a k. Then I can put this in the calculator and get a value, and then I could check this and substitute a 3 for k and see, are they equal? this is 108. And 12 times 3 squared is also 108. So it checks out. So, and k doesn't have to be 3 or x or b or n or whatever your variables are. Just choose numbers and substitute so that you can check yourself to feel more comfortable that what you're doing is correct. We can simplify this one in any order also. What I see here is I have two things multiplied together and they're both raised to a power, and that looks like this to me. So I'm going to use as a reference.
You don't? What should I do when I have to do it? The first thing I do is walk. Oh. Yesterday?
A times b to the m is a to the m, b to the m. So each of these, the m squared and also the n to the -1, those have to get this outside exponent applied to them. So I can write this as m squared, this is to the -3, and that's multiplied times n to the -1 to the -3. Now I have a variable to a power and then raised to a power a second time. That looks like this one. It says I'm supposed to multiply the exponent numbers together. So m to the -6 and n to the +3. This is kind of weird. I have a negative exponent. Here it says if I have a negative exponent, then I write it as 1 over a to the power. So this doesn't make anything negative. Doesn't change the sign. It makes it a denominator. So this m to the -6 I should write as 1 over m to the 6th. This is times n to the 3rd. So this you'd usually write as n to the 3rd divided by m to the 6th. To be finished simplifying, you need all exponents to be positive. So this is simplified. I'll also do number 23.
Yeah, I know. I sent it to you. So my snap.
23 is the last one.
I did a Desmos thing, but I didn't see it turn.
No, you don't have to try it in. I got it. Cool, thanks. So here's 23, and just do whatever strikes you. I probably have this worked out a little differently on notes I posted, but as long as we get the same result, it shouldn't matter. What stands out to me right now is I have a 2 on the numerator and a 2 on the denominator. So if I'm multiplying by 2 and dividing by 2, then those can be reduced. If I rearrange this so that I have 2x times x to the second, which is what 2x to the third means, and I have 2x here times 3x squared squared, then I can reduce this. 2x divided by 2x is 1. So I get 1 times x squared over 3x squared squared, and then I'll start using exponent properties. But like I said, if you do this in a different order, as long as we agree on the final result, that's fine. Let's look at this. I have two things multiplied together and both raised to the same exponent. So my reference is this property here. So I'm going to rewrite this denominator. I'm not writing the 1 again. I have x squared in the numerator. My denominator I could write as 3 squared and x squared squared. X squared squared is, there's a property that says how to combine these. You would multiply the exponents together. But since I have an x squared here and an x squared here, x squared squared means x squared times itself twice.
Awesome.
So
It's not. Can you see Trey that one with Joel?
this is what I'm looking at. 3 squared is 9.
Does yours do this?
And I have x squared times x squared. If I have an x squared on the numerator and an x squared on the denominator, I can reduce that. I can rearrange this.
I think today we'll actually get cars. Yesterday we were only 100. Dude, yesterday was just lame because it rained all day. And then like it stopped when I got there. Yeah. But then we had cars go through. But they did Aaron and Austin did it themselves.
Another way to look at this is that I have, if I did with exponent properties, I will pause this and then show you which ones I referenced. And I'll just post it or like open back up when it's finished. Okay, so like I said, I worked this out using a different path. So just for comparison and to prove that you can work these out and simplify in different orders and different ways and still get the same result, I used different exponent properties. I wrote which properties I used, and I still got the same result. So, work through your practice problems. I assigned the even ones. I have a key posted that is the odds simplified if you want to use those for reference. They're on Canvas.